So today we're going to rebuild the Mets because right now this team is an absolute mess. Obviously, a few days ago you had the Jorge Lopez incident. The team is spiraling out of control. They're losing games. It seems like players are starting to get a little upset. And just right now, the whole Steve Cohen experience, not going great. So for a team that has one of the higher payrolls in baseball, it's time to turn things around. Time for a retool, time for a rebuild, and it's time for me to take over and win a World Series. All right, let's talk about this team, how I currently have it set up, and this is what we're gonna rock with for at least the start of the year. I know Christian Scott is currently in the majors with the team right now, or wait, he was recently sent down along with Brett Beatty. But with that being said, this is what we're going to rock with. We're going to see how things go, then approach the trade deadline or maybe around the draft. We'll call up Christian Scott and go from there. Obviously, with this Mets team, you look at it and you go, can't really expect too many good things with the squad. And to be honest, it hasn't gone well. Edwin Diaz is not Edwin. It's Ed Luz currently. He looks so bad. And if you just look at the pitching staff, it definitely needs life. That's really what it is. And Christian Scott looks to be like a really solid pitcher for the future. I'm excited to get him into this rebuild. I think he's someone that we can definitely at least predict him to be like in the 3 and above spot, like the 1, 2, 3 in the rotation. I think that's his spot moving forward. Another one potentially that could feature is Brandon Sproat. I know right now he's tearing up AA, so it'll be interesting to see how well he develops. But with that 99 velocity, you know what? He might come in handy. So let's talk about the offensive side of things. When we take a look at the team, this is currently what we're looking like here. Brett Beatty actually should be playing third base. I'm going to give him a shot. I know in real life he's been sent down to AAA, but you know what? Let's see what he can do. Mark Vientos probably just faces lefties, and I feel like I need to make that change. Let me make sure it is. I will have to make that change where he does take over for lefties, but the bench is the bench. I'm not too worried about it. A couple guys that will be fine on the bench and should be decent in this spot. So when we talk about the lineup here, Starling Marte, contract. 20 mil next year could be an issue. So this is a guy that I might trade at the deadline. I might trade in the offseason. Just really depends how things are going. Like if he's having a crazy good year, probably going to trade him at the deadline. Brandon Nimmo's a guy that I'm probably just going to keep around as long as possible. 31, so he's not the oldest. Contract kind of long, and that's kind of the issue with the Mets is they have a couple aging players. They're not like old players, but they're aging players with some big contracts in McNeil, Lindor, and Nimmo. Marte, we've already talked about his contract. Speaking of Lindor, shortstop, 30 years old, again, big contract. So it definitely is something that we need to keep an eye on. And then Pete Alonso, does he stay or does he go? He supposedly wants like a 10-year deal. That's the rumor. The Mets don't want to match that. We'll see what happens. Is he a guy that gets traded at the deadline? I feel like that's definitely something the Mets should do unless they're able to find some sort of an agreement for an extension. I don't know. You just can't let him walk. That's like the worst thing the Mets can do this year. And we'll see what we do in this rebuild because I feel like he's usually good in franchise. But at the same time, like I'm not going to extend him to a contract right now when I could probably get him pretty cheap in the offseason. So we'll see what happens. JD Martinez, doesn't matter what he's doing. He's getting traded this deadline. Francisco Alvarez is going to be the catcher for the future. McNeil's fine at second. Beatty, we'll see how he does at third. And then at center field, Bader for now. But the guy for the future, Drew Gilbert. We'll see how much he develops. I know currently in real life he's injured. We'll see. I think this is our guy for center field, though. I'm excited to see how he develops. Next up, Ronnie Mauricio, currently out in real life with a knee injury. I think it was a ACL tear. Sucks to see, but could be a guy for the future as well. Next up, Luis Angel Acuna. Yep, Ronald Acuna's brother. Second base, probably not going to be a shortstop, but I feel like this guy could definitely help us out in the infield. We have some young guys along with Jet Williams, another one of those highly rated prospects in the Mets system. So we've got shortstop, we've got second base, we've got another second baseman, we've got a center fielder, we got some good young guys. We just need them to develop and hop into this team. Maybe we try out a couple at the end of this season. Maybe we see how they perform, maybe get them in the opening day lineup next year. Or if they need a little bit more time, we get them in around the deadline next year because I feel like we're going to need a little bit of a retool. So if we don't make the playoffs this year or next year, I don't think it's the worst thing. And then there's one more position player that I wanted to point out, and that's Ryan Clifford, who just has crazy power. So hopefully he develops and can be our first baseman DH for the future. I know there's a couple others in this organization like Jeremy Rodriguez. I've heard the name along with Alex Ramirez. So I know there's other prospects. It's just I felt like I should touch on a couple of the higher rated ones within the organization. So we've talked about the team. We've talked about a couple prospects that I'm excited for in this rebuild. Now let's go figure out what we're going to do with this team, starting with the draft. All right, so we've added quite a few players to the draft queue. Realistically, I'm looking at someone like a Peter Mills. I think he looks fantastic. I could use pitchers or position players, realistically, mostly outfielders if I could get some, and there actually are a couple outfielders that look pretty good, including Benny Oka out of Japan. We discovered him. Looks to be more of a power hitter with some really good defense and speed. I hope we can get him. I hope we can get him. We have pick number 19, I believe. Horacio Harris also looks pretty solid. Probably going to settle around the B potential range, but I'm perfectly fine with that. Samuel Herrera is a center fielder. Again, looks to be more of a power hitter, but again, I could use some outfield help. Kirby Kaiser, again, looks like a decent pitcher. I'd be happy with him at our pick. Chris Page, another one of those pitchers that looks to be fantastic that we could potentially get. Again, pick 19. Who knows? Who knows what's going to be available? Von Lang, another pitcher. I like the looks of him. Again, it's probably going to be 80s potential, but I think that's still pretty good. I'd take that. Castillo, another pitcher. Hey, anything. I'm just showing you potential picks. Reyna, another outfielder. Looks more like the defensive side of things, probably going to be in the 50s as well. So I don't really know if he's the guy that I'm really intrigued by, along with Sanchez. It just really depends on what's available. And then we've got a couple other for later picks. So heading into the draft, oh man, I'm a little stuffy. Son was sick, so now I'm starting to get a little bit of whatever he had. It's a nightmare. So I just feel like right here, it's just like getting punched in the face. It sucks. So congested. Either way, we're here. Guardians, pick number 1. I feel like I've also got like my hair flying everywhere. Javier Burgos, didn't scout him. Knew I wasn't going to get him. Pick number 2 for the Reds is going to be Lou Watkins, pitcher 13th according to our scouts. And the Guardians, looks like a guy with a beard, Ozzie Rubio. That's a ball player's name right there. Let me tell you, if I hear a player called Ozzie Rubio, Hall of Famer, automatically he's that guy. All right, who did we lose? Who did? Oh man, really? That sucks. Peter Mills too? Really? And Harris? This is tough. All right, so who's available now? Let me Herrera's gone. We've got anybody else that I'm intrigued by? Page, the pitcher. No. Dang, he got chosen. Okay, so we've got a couple minutes to decide here. Kaiser's not bad. It's not the worst. Kaiser's not bad. We've got Castillo, who also doesn't look terrible either. I'm not really feeling Reyna right now. Sanchez is more of like I know he's going to be in the 80s potential. Somewhere in the 60s for overall. Doesn't look terrible. I just don't know if that's someone that I really want to go with right now. I did say I need outfield help, so like I guess it's not the worst. Tanner Crow's not going to hit. He's going to be a glove first guy with some speed. Villarreal, probably in the 50s. Doesn't look like he's really going to hit either. This guy I really want later in the draft, along with Wagner. So I'm thinking it's going to be Sanchez, Castillo, or Kaiser. What are we feeling here? I feel like Castillo's probably the move, huh? Or maybe do we take a lower rated potential, or like a lower potential player with a little bit higher overall? He's got speed. His fielding looks iffy at best. This is tough. Man, I think we take the pitcher. It's just which one looks better. Probably Castillo. Ooh, actually maybe Kaiser, but I don't have him fully scouted either. Ooh, let's take Kaiser. I'm gonna take Rick Wagner here. I know it's only pick 45, but we don't have another pick until like 90, I believe it is. 85. So I have a feeling he's gonna get chosen. Hitting stats look good. Fielding looks good. First baseman. I think this is a good pick for us. I know it's a little bit of a reach, but just because we don't have another pick until after he's projected to go, probably should get him. And then now, ooh, I'm gonna take Trainer here. Higher overall, a little less potential, but again, someone that we may see in the future. Let's get some position players for once. Next up, Reyna's still there anyways, so we might as well take him too. I have a feeling he's going to be super low rated, but why not? He's probably got some potential. And now let's just, yeah, why not? Pete Williams? Yeah, why not? And then we got one more pick after this. I don't really know who to take. I don't think it really matters. So I'm going to go with, I think I'm just going to go with that first guy, Esteban. He's hurt, which could come back to hurt us, but we'll take him anyways. Not bad. I feel good about that draft. All right, I've gone around at the deadline and I've looked for possible JD Martinez trades, and I really can't get a position player without giving up like other pieces. And if I want like a good prospect or anything like that, I really can't. Like here, I'll even show you, like I can't even get like Spencer Horwitz, which that kind of says something. So I'm gonna take Nate Pearson from the Blue Jays. I don't think he pitched. Let me see if he's pitched. Has he pitched? He hasn't pitched in the majors this year. I know in real life he has, but in this sim he hasn't. So might as well pick up a team controlled pitcher for a couple years for a guy that we're just not going to have in the future. So that's trade number one. I've also put in a claim on a reliever, which I normally don't do, but I saw he was available. I thought, you know what? Why not? See what happens. So Tyson Miller, I put in a claim on him, see how that works out. So I'm looking at this currently. I gotta call up somebody. It's gonna be Drew Gilbert. He's gonna play center field for us just because Harrison Bader's not good. So we have that going for us. But I don't really know who else to get rid of, like who has value. Maybe Tyrone Taylor. Maybe outside of that, I don't really. Maybe one of our pitchers, even though the pitchers are not doing great either. As you can see, Christian Scott hasn't been called up just because you can see he's doing really well in AAA. With how bad we were doing, I figured let's get to the draft, let's get to the deadline, let's clear out the people that we don't want, the deadwood, and then we'll start calling up the prospects and filling in the holes there. So I've got a couple guys with some expiring contracts that I want to get rid of, and then we'll go from there. Let's see, who could I get here? It's just like, do I just go for the power? I feel like I could still then get, yeah, we'll just do that then. Yeah, I'll do that. There we go. That's not bad. And then for Quintana, I'm going to get Hector Rodriguez and Tony Santillan, a bullpen arm, and a prospect for the future. 20 years old, 67 overall. Looks decent. So again, I just, we're getting some pieces for the future, getting some bullpen arms for now. And I think that really might be it. I don't really know who else I could trade that would really make a difference. I mean, I could trade Marte, but at the same time, like, I don't even know if he's got value. He has some value. There's just no way he does. Yeah, I can't even get Blake done for him. So I think we just eat the contract and move on, or maybe trade him this offseason. We'll see. So I'm gonna call up some guys. I'm gonna send down some guys. I'm gonna add Senga back into the team because he is injured. I injured him. Yep, that's right. I did figure we should probably have Senga injured to start the rebuild, just because he is in real life, hasn't really pitched at all in real life. So let's see what he can do now once we add him to the rotation. So again, I'm gonna kind of make a lot of changes here. Let's go make those changes. All right, and I have two players that I have DFA'd, so I'm gonna send them to the Cubs for Ethan Roberts, a lefty, because I need a lefty, and I think that should be it now. So I'm not going to call him up just yet, but we'll see how he develops over time. This is currently what the team is looking like. Our two new additions to the bullpen, potentially Tyson Miller as well if the claim goes through. This is what our rotation's going to look like. We'll see how that goes. We still have Ed Luz Diaz at closer, who's doing iffy. And then offensively, this is what has changed. Drew Gilbert is taking over in right field, and that's really about it. I looked at some of the other prospects, and they really weren't hitting well. So I figured no reason to call them up just yet. Let's let them develop a little bit more. Our whole bench looks pretty bad. Let's just see what happens. Again, we are 47 and 62. Yeah. So it is time to see how the draft picks went. Last day to sign them. Here we go. I'll take that. 85 for Kirby Kaiser. Looks pretty good. Control's a little low, but rest of the per nines look okay. We've got Rick Wagner, again, with B potential. Looks like a good glove first baseman with some decent pop. I like that. Trayer, B potential, 61 overall. Good fielding, good reactions. Definitely a left fielder with that arm, but decent speed too. So, you know what? I'll take those first couple picks. And then we've got Reyna with high 80s potential, and Pete Williams with A potential. And then the last one looks pretty bad, so I'm not too worried about it. But overall, I'm pretty happy with the picks. I could make him a reliever, and then his overall will drop so he can develop a little bit more, but it doesn't really matter. Otherwise, like, that's a good draft. I'm pretty happy with that. Harris had 87 potential. Sucks we couldn't get him. The best player in the draft was easily Javier Burgos, who's 74 overall with 93 potential. Benny Oka had 93 potential and is 65 overall, but I don't know how well he's going to hit. Looks really good in the field and his speed. And that was really about it. There's a couple other prospects that look pretty good, but their overalls were pretty low, so overall, I'm pretty happy with that. Not the highest potential players, but decent ones. And then our claim didn't go through with Tyson Miller. I guess the Rockies got him instead. So it says he's with the Class A affiliate too. So unfortunate we couldn't get the extra reliever, but I think we're still pretty fine for this season. It's time to head to the offseason because we gotta make some changes. So 68-94 season was pretty terrible. I've expected. So we'll just fly through this really quickly. Statistics as a team rank. Where were we? 22nd for batting average. For runs, we were 19th. So yeah, definitely bottom of the league. Yeah, that's not good. That's not what you want to see. ERA wise, what are we? Oh, we were last. Ooh, we got our work cut out for us for sure. Awards go to Mookie Betts as the MVP winner. Had a crazy season with 52 home runs and a 1060 OPS. On the AL side, it was Aaron Judge who put up a similar season. I mean, can't complain about that. I mean, those are easily the best pitchers. Jacob deGrom had a Cy Young season apparently, beating out Gavin Williams, who also had a very good year. On the NL side, it went to Ohtani, who had a 2.82 ERA, which, yeah, I mean, he went 20-8, had 250 strikeouts. Pretty good. Batting title went to Betts and Soto. David Robertson and Evan Phillips were the relievers of the year. And Rookie of the Year went to Marco Luciano, who beat out Yamamoto and Young-Hoo Lee, and Wilyer Abreu of the Red Sox. So not bad. I'm not going to really focus on who's been called up or who's been sent down, just because I have a feeling things aren't good across the board. Christian Scott, 4-4 on the season after 11 starts. Okay, 58 innings is not ideal, so it looks like he went around 5 innings pitched each start. A lot of hits, ERA is high, the whip's high. 3 quality starts. Yeah, a tough outing. Not as good as what he's been doing in real life, so yikes. Who else did I call up? David Peterson got 20 innings. He got roughed up too. Nate Pearson, how did he do with us? 20 innings. He got roughed up. Oh boy. So we've got Lucchesi here, who pitched 160 innings, and honestly, probably going to be one of our better pitchers, which is sad to say. And Tyler McGill, also not very good. Santillan was good though. This might be one of our better trades so far. Sean Reed-Foley was solid in the bullpen. Reed Garrett, the whip's in a good spot, just the ERA is a little high, so I feel comfortable with him. And let's close it out with Edwin Diaz, who, yikes, it's not a bad season, it's just not great. Senga had a 5 ERA after 60 innings, so let's see how he does with the full season next year. Sean Manaea, he can be our 5th starter. We'll leave it at that. Jose Budo can be our 4th starter. We'll leave it at that. And then Adrian Hauser can be our long reliever with Joey Lucchesi. So realistically, we need, I guess Christian Scott's going to fill in at the 3. So it's going to be something like Drew Smith shouldn't even be over here. Why is Drew Smith over here? It really should be like Manaea, Budo, Hauser's over here. So we're going to have not even Sean Reed-Foley. Why is he over here too? So Christian Scott's in the mix. So we need a really good pitcher for sure. The bullpen, I feel like we can chop and change a couple things. Will be okay. Looking at the bench, Narvaez was pretty bad as a backup catcher. Tyrone Taylor as like a guy who can come in and hit lefties. It's not the worst off the bench. Let's see. Arbitration, potentially keep him around. Ronnie Mauricio got called up, but he didn't feature at all. Same thing with Trace Thompson. And who did get called up? Jake Bowers. Definitely going to keep him just because we have arbitration. He hits home runs. We might as well keep him. I think that's it. Starling Marte, we know is bad. I'm not even gonna look. I don't even want to be depressed about it. Nimmo, 20 home runs, 28 doubles. Pretty good season. I'll take that. Definitely a little bit quieter than last year, but still pretty solid season. I'm happy with it. Lindor, give me more of that. Yeah, all of that. That is amazing. Pete Alonso had a pretty good season. I don't know what the contract's going to be like. I was looking to extend it at the deadline. He wanted 10 years. Like, he actually wanted 10 years to make the deal possible. And I was like, no, not happening. The money was super cheap. It was like $7 million for 10 years. So it really was only $70 million, which is a super cheap contract. It's just, I didn't want to do 10 years. So I'm going to see if I can get him on like, I definitely could have extended his contract for like 15 mil, and I could have gotten it down to like a 5 or 6 year deal. So I'm definitely going to do that this offseason. He had a good year. Yes, the power production's way lower than usual, but I still have faith in him moving forward as our first baseman. DJ Stewart, he can be another one of those guys that comes off the bench for us. Francisco Alvarez, I definitely need a better season moving forward. Like, the home runs aren't bad, but the rest of the numbers don't look great. Jeff McNeil was pretty atrocious. I'm not gonna lie, that's bad. Harrison Bader was pretty bad, and then Brett Beatty, yeah, not great, not great. Drew Gilbert also not fantastic either. Oh, what did I get myself into? The Dodgers defeat the Astros, and now heading into the offseason, we should have some decent money to spend. We should have some players coming off the books. Scherzer retires, goes with the Nationals. So everybody can go except for Pete Alonso, who I said, okay, so his money's actually cheaper than it was at the trade deadline. He actually lowered his amount. So I'm gonna go 6 years. We'll backload it. Actually, let's front load it, which is crazy for a 6-year contract, 7-year contract, whatever. But this way, when we're looking to spend more money later on in the rebuild, we'll have it because we paid him up front. So let's do 6 years, 5 years, 36. 5 years, 36. That's what I'm going to offer. Way cheaper than what it should be in real life. But hey, if that's what the game's going to make us pay, that's what I'm going to do. I'm changing. I'm getting rid of everybody here. Pitching coach is bad. He can go too. So I'm going to do this off camera. Off season, I'm really just looking to get whoever I can that's going to improve this team. Pitching, huge need, at least one big name arm, which there's definitely arms available. And then if I'm being realistic here, I think an outfielder. I don't want Bader back. I think an outfielder for sure. And so Alonso, so maybe like one big bat and an outfielder. I think that's what I need this offseason for sure. Okay, still in the offseason, like literally the 8th of November, really early. And I'm thinking about it going, you know what? If we can get a starter, if we can maybe get 1 or 2 strong bullpen arms, so that's like what, 2-3 players. And then we take a look at this lineup. Nimmo's good, Lindor, Pete Alonso's back, and on a very friendly deal, by the way. But then Francisco Alvarez, I don't know about Jeff McNeil yet, but we'll have to see what happens with him. Maybe Ronnie Mauricio, but I'm thinking if we can get a good outfielder, a big time bat for this DH, let Beatty, Gilbert hold it down here at the bottom of the lineup, I actually think we could be a team that fights for a wild card spot, and I feel like that's definitely possible. So we're looking at 2 offensive pieces, 2 pitchers, a bullpen arm and a starter. And I feel like that's not that difficult to go out and get, especially with this free agency class. Could definitely be a playoff team. So I'm thinking, let's clear a little bit of money. Let's get rid of like Starling Marte's contract. Gives us a little bit more money for the offseason. And then let's just push for the playoff season 2. Because I'm looking at this team going, we definitely could do it with just a small retool rather than waiting for like season 3, season 4, which was my original plan. So let's go make a couple moves. So I'm going to send him to the Pirates. Starling Marte back to the Pirates for Michael Plasmeyer and Jackson Wolf. 2 relievers. I felt like, you know what, they're not going to be expensive. And also, they actually don't look bad attribute-wise. Like, velocity for Wolf's a little low. But who was the other one? Michael Plasmeyer. Looks pretty decent. Could be a long reliever. Could also just not end up being used at all. But for the most part, hey, 2 relievers, can't complain. And with that, it opened up our available budget from 77 mil, which is currently what my pending offers are. Yeah, I have a couple offers out, and it opened up our available budget to close to 100 mil, which is huge. It gave us a little bit more to play with, about 20 mil more to play with actually. So like I said, I'm looking for some good free agent pickups, especially those bats and that bullpen arm and starter. So I'll see you guys for season 2. All right, we're right before spring training, and I'm gonna get rid of Fujinami and Yaxel Rios for Sean Burke, dropping a little bit of salary because we're a little bit over budget. So yeah, all right, let's get the season started. And like I said, I wanted to go out and improve the team. Pitching wise, I wasn't able to do as much as I really wanted to, and you're gonna see why in a second. But John Means, safe option, 8 mil. I'm hoping he can just give me something like this, around a 4 ERA, around like a 1-2-ish whip. I'll be okay. I just need my pitching to be fine. Like, I can't have anybody be terrible. I just need them to be like middle of the pack, and we should be good. If we could do that, we're set. Otherwise, I feel pretty good about this. Maybe something like this. Maybe actually something like this is probably what I'm gonna settle with Tyler McGill over here, Santillan, Garrett, Wolf, Sean Reed Foley. And this is kind of why Couldn't spend as much on a starter as I really wanted to. I got Tanner Scott. I needed a lefty in the bullpen. 10 mil he was okay with signing, and I was like, you know what, let's give him a shot. Let's see how it goes. And I could have been cheaper here and got a cheaper lefty or a cheaper righty in the bullpen, and then spent more on the pitcher or the starting pitcher, which would have been smart. But you know what, I really wanted to go out and get a really good reliever. He was one of the better ones available. Let's rock with that. Bullpen and everything like down here is a little thin. I definitely need to get one more in AA, but you can kind of see here what we're working with. I totally forgot to mention Nolan McLean. He's a pitcher in AA, or maybe even AAA for the Mets currently. Two-way player. Let's see how it works out. I've got him playing DH. Hopefully it works out for us. Maybe we get him a little debut as a two-way player for the Mets. But now that we talked about this, obviously, you know, the lineup isn't, you know, we've got Trayer, we've got Clifford, we've got Wilkin, who we got from the Brewers, I believe it was. You know, we made a couple trades. We got a couple prospects, but you know, we still got Mauricio, Williams, Vientos, Acuna down in AAA2. I want to give them every day at bats, and they weren't going to get them in the majors because this is what our team looks like. Brandon Drury was a little expensive, I'm not going to lie. He's coming off of a 37 home run season, so I had to pay 8 mil. And he's going to play DH versus lefties because I went out and got Joey Loperfido in the Rule 5 draft. He was available, and I thought, you know what? Let's take a shot. His hitting stats look fantastic. He can play all across the outfield plus a little bit infield. Hey, why not? Stole him from the Astros, but you probably saw the big move. Yeah, we kept Juan Soto in New York. It's just with the Mets instead, and it was expensive. It was expensive. So this is the team now, pretty lefty heavy, and that's why my entire bench is basically all righties except for Jake Bowers. Danny Jansen's the new backup catcher. Got him on a 1-year deal, 8 mil. That's the team. Little dog appearance on the video, but yeah, I mean that's the squad. Like I said, I'm still working on the lefty lineup. I'm gonna move things around, but this is the team. I'm feeling pretty good about it. We still got the prospects to work with. Contact is 8th, power is 3rd, defense is 5th. The pitching is low. I definitely can agree with that, but at least we have good defense to help out the pitching, and we have some good offense. Hopefully, I'm really hoping this offense can turn things around compared to last year, along with the pitching. We were last in ERA last year. Let's get through season 2. We're like 2-3 days into the season, and I made a couple waiver claims just to get a couple more bullpen arms in Waguespack and Alex Young. Alex Young has to go through waivers, so we'll see if it makes it through, but I just wanted to point it out. I did pick up those two for the bullpen just to add a little bit more depth. As you can see, we were a little thin, so I figured, you know what, let's at least get a couple, because just in case things go badly, we at least have some depth. All right, for the draft, we have the 9th pick, which is good. Top 10 pick. Can't complain about that. It just means that we were bad last season. But I have a few players on my board, so if we can get any of them, that would be huge. Let's see what happens, though. So there's a couple really good position players. I'm really hoping we can get them. This guy's probably going to be very good. I think this guy might be generational. This guy's stats look amazing, and he went to the Red Sox, which I didn't think I was going to get him, but he was a top, you know, according to our scouts, he was the number 2 player. This is Richie Glover. We have him at 14. Okay. For the A's, and long hair. I don't know who has the 3rd pick. Who does? The Reds are going to go with a catcher, Malcolm Miller, who was kind of on my board, but I didn't think he was going to fall to us. So let's see what happens. Okay. So it's going to be Roger Brindle, Sean Cortez, Kurt Everett, Bernie Pryor, and Devin Kepler. I wasn't really looking at him. This guy's gonna be so good. This guy's gonna be crazy good. All right, so as I pull my headphones out, let's talk about the picks. We got Jeremy Carlberg, who he looks like he's gonna be decent. I just don't know if he's gonna be good enough to use in this rebuild. I think he'd be cool, like the stash, long hair, like he looks like he's kind of like a biker type situation. You know what, he looks like you don't want to mess with him, right? He looks like if you had like generic version of Randy Johnson, you know, and I'm kind of in on that. I also kind of like Darnell Rudy out of the Netherlands. No power at all, right? But looks decent. I don't hate it. And then Austin Holton, if I want to go like a safer route, which I don't know if I do. And then especially because we do have a couple not ranked players on our board for later in the draft, which I feel like I could get them. We don't have a third pick, which is or a second round pick, because we signed Soto. So I got to be smart about who I'm choosing here. Our next pick is at 80, which I'm really hoping this guy makes it to. If this guy can make it to our third pick, or technically our second pick, our third round pick, that would be huge. So I think I'm just going to go with, I think I'm going to go a position player here. Like Carl Berg would be great. I think he's going to be fantastic. I think the potential is probably going to be high 80s, somewhere in the 90s. It's just, I feel like a position player here because we can get some good pitchers later on in the draft, right? I'm going to take Rudy. Hopefully it's the right move. Let's see. And then let's see who makes it to us in the next round. This catcher's still available. And because I have 3 not ranked pitchers, I have a feeling I can get at least one of them in the next round. I'm going to take this catcher. Let's get the position players. Those are more fun anyways. Let's do it. Next up. Oh, all 3 of these guys are here. I'm going to take the one that's got the, let's see. I'm going to go with this one just because we have the higher potential range. And then next round, they're both still available anyways. Oh, okay. So I'm going to take Madrid. And then does this guy make it to us in the 6th round? He does. What a draft. We literally got everybody that was on my queue. That never happens. That's huge. That's unbelievable. All right, so at the deadline, I'm essentially just going to buy a prospect in Jose Corniel, who looks decent. He's 71 overall. I don't know how much more he's going to grow, but he's having a good season in AA. And we could potentially use young pitching for the future. I need to get rid of Jeff McNeil. He is terrible. He is so bad. The Rangers apparently want a second baseman, so I'm going to give them Troy Miller, McNeil, and then a guy that we drafted last year that we're just not going to use, and Antonio Reyna. So essentially we're getting rid of one prospect to get a slightly better or closer to MLB ready prospect. There we go. That's kind of the move I'm thinking. And then I'm going to trade for Yusei Kikuchi. I tried to get Zach Gallen, but it's just slightly out of my comfort range for making a trade possible. To make it possible, I need to trade like Brock Wilken, who is absolutely tearing up AA, or I have to trade one of Mauricio or Acuna, which I definitely could. It's just I want to see how these two go. Ronnie Mauricio is going to get his time in the majors with McNeil gone, and then Luis Angel Acuna is tearing up AAA right now. So I'm kind of seeing how things play out. And Kikuchi's contract expires at the end of the season. He's having a good year. I just want to strengthen up our rotation a little bit. And I feel like at the deadline, it's a fairly cheap deal for Bowers, Morabito, and Rylan Thomas. So Bowers is going to go, not really getting ABs in the major league level right now. Only 30, hasn't been great. Who else? Left fielder in Rylan Thomas, who, fine, he's not doing great in AA at 24 years old. And Morabito could be good in the future, but again, I don't really see a future in the team. So not a bad trade. All right, so I actually made the trades like a week before the deadline, which is fine. Whatever. We're here to see our picks. How did we do? Oh yeah, that's chef's kiss. I like that. So Rudy, 86 potential, not really a good fielder, definitely a second baseman. Good speed, good hitting stats. Sonny Peters, catcher, can also play first base. So he's got an arm, maybe like third base because of the arm, but like bad fielding. I don't know. Decent power stats. I'll take it. Fabregas also has A potential. He's got some velocity. I like that. We've got Madrid, who's got B potential out of the Dominican Republic, and then Cordero with A potential. Like, oh, what a draft. So we were looking at a few others. Let me see if I can see any of their names here. Malcolm Miller was what, the top 4, top 5 pick. He looks pretty good, 86 potential. Chauncey Weeks didn't have on my radar at all. Jeremy Carlberg went in like the late 2nd round, 3rd round, 95 potential. Ooh, did I miss out on him? Lefty with the fastball, curveball, slider. 61 stamina doesn't really excite me. That could be an issue. Any other big names that appear here? Let's see. 94 potential for Austin Holton. Okay, that's a pitcher that we definitely could have looked at. Oh, we did look at him. Yeah, I was worried about the hits and the Ks per 9 being a little low. Stamina's also a little low too, but he looks decent. 2 fastballs and a changeup though. So the top 3 like potential pitchers, only 3 pitches. There he is, the second baseman. Generational talent, went number 1 overall. I had a feeling he was gonna be good, and he is. Oh, man, of course, a generational talent, and we weren't bad enough to get him, which I guess is a good thing, but at the same time, that would have been nice to get. Otherwise, you know what? I'm happy with our draft. We'll at least see Rudy at some capacity, probably like a bench bat at least. I'm pretty happy with that. So in the second division, the second season, we win the division 98-64, taking on the winner of the wild card. Might be the Phillies. So it looks like we beat the Phillies on a tiebreaker. I don't know what the tiebreaker is. I don't know if it's a series. I don't know if it's runs scored or what it is. But hey, we won the division with 98 wins, which didn't even come close to the Dodgers. Good Lord. What did the Dodgers look like that they have that crazy of a lineup? Did they make any changes? No. That's just the Dodgers. You know, they brought in Harold Ramirez and Miguel Andujar. Did he do anything this year? He didn't even play. And Harold Ramirez wasn't that great. What about the pitching? Let's see. They basically just brought in Jeff Hoffman and Kyle Hurt. Okay, Kyle Hurt, I think, is already a Dodger, but Trevor Gott, okay. He was nasty. He was actually on my radar. He was somebody that I was going to go for if I didn't get the lefty and Tanner Scott. I mean, yeah, I don't think I'm going to beat this team. This is going to be tough. So we're either taking on the Reds or the Cardinals. So league leaders, Soto had the most hits and walks. Hold on. So he had 201 hits. He had 100 walks with 110 strikeouts. He has to be MVP, unless Mookie Betts put up a crazier number. It's going to be close. It's going to be really close. It's going to be very, very close. All right, team rankings wise, what do we got here? So we were third for batting average. What about runs? We are fifth. I'll take that. I'll take that for sure. And then if we take a quick look at fielding, just to kind of get an idea of what we were as a team, sixth, I'll take that. And then ERA from last to fourth is huge. No award though. So Mookie Betts won MVP, huh? Ohtani did. Okay, yeah, he was nasty. If he's putting up those kind of numbers, I can see why he was MVP. Holy cow. Soto finished second, and then Mookie finished third. On the AL side, it was Gunnar Henderson, who in real life is unbelievable this year. Holy cow, what is he doing? Definitely an MVP candidate. Cy Young went to Carlos Rodon on the AL side. Ohtani on the NL side. Mookie Betts and J-Ram were your batting title winners. Gregory Santos along with Evan Phillips just beating out Edwin Diaz, who was phenomenal, by the way. Phenomenal. Holy cow. I think the only difference is what? The saves. Understandable. Justin Lawrence finished third. Rookie of the year went to Amador, who hit 300. Good Lord. James Wood and AJ Smith-Shawver were also in the mix. And on the AL side, it was Justin Henry Malloy. There you go. 34 home runs. Pretty impressive. Okay. I've already set up the team to look how I want it to look for the postseason. Kikuchi started off strong. He was holding his 3 ERA. And then towards the end of the season, he started to cool off a little bit. So he's going to be our lefty long reliever. I feel like for the trade that we gave up, I'm okay with that. Tyler McGill was sent down, called back up, kind of has hovered around this ERA for a majority of the season, so there's that. Santillan starting to regress a little bit, which is unfortunate, but he was solid. He was very solid for us this season, and he was solid for us last year. So to get 2 seasons out of the bullpen from him, I'm happy with that. Am I going to bring him back? Probably not, but he was good. It was a good... We got 2.5 or 1.5 seasons out of him, and I don't think we really gave up that much, so I'm okay with that. Reed Garrett's been fantastic. Love to see it. Jackson Wolf, yeah, give me more of that. Nate Pearson came up and pitched a little bit less than last season, but was way better. Way less runs, way less hits, just way better overall. Tanner Scott was fantastic as a setup guy once again. I might try to bring him back. If I can find another lefty that I feel like I can pay less and get similar results, I definitely will. We'll have to wait and see. We already saw Edwin's season. It was gross. Kodai, bounce back year. Love to see it. Love it. John Means for $8 million. Fantastic. The franchise god was back again. Christian Scott. Hey, if he can sit in this 3 spot for us moving forward, I am super happy about it. Jose Budo, you know what? As a 4 guy, I'm pretty happy with those numbers. And then Sean Manaea, we moved him to the long relief spot. Once Kikuchi came in, he dropped his ERA. He's going to be our 5 starter for the playoffs. I feel like that's an okay little situation that we got going on here. Lineup wise, the bench is kind of subpar. We mixed and matched a little bit for the second half of the season. Brett Beatty actually got sent down. That's why he only has 290 at-bats. Called him back up in September, gave him a starting job again. Not really doing it for me. I'm going to give him one more start to the season. And if it doesn't work out, then I think we just give it to a different person. We can give it to Mauricio. We can give it to Acuna. We can give it to Brock Wilken, who absolutely destroyed AA. We'll have to wait and see how he does in AAA. So he also looks like he might be more of a DH, which might open up with Brandon Drury leaving. So we'll have to wait and see how that goes. Danny Jansen as a backup catcher, I'm okay with these numbers. You know, he was coming off of a really good season. And with 1/3 of the ABs, I'm not really expecting him to put up crazy numbers. Tyrone Taylor, whatever. DJ Stewart came up a little bit, got 100 ABs, was decent for sure. Talked about Brett Beatty already. And if we take a look at our starters, Brandon Nimmo was fantastic. 40 home runs. Yeah, love that. Lindor, 29 home runs. So the power dipped a little bit. Still 44 doubles and 24 stolen bases though. I'll take it. Soto, this is what we needed. Pete, with only 26 home runs, is super disappointing. Yeah, I mean, we're paying him like 8 mil, 9 mil. It's nothing crazy. So like, am I upset with it? No, but I was kind of hoping for a little bit more. Mark Vientos got 20 ABs. I can't really judge him on that. Francisco Alvarez, 11 and 12 for contact. I love seeing that growth, and he was fantastic. Huge improvement, average on base percentage, slugging, OPS. Yeah, give me more of that. Ronnie Mauricio got 184 at bats, was quite good. Yeah, the power is like nothing crazy, but like slugging about 450, OPS just around 800, solid. What was he WAR wise? Let's take a look here. He was a 1.1 WAR player, not terrible. Brandon Drury was mostly a DH, 0.8 WAR, which whatever, but like 270 average, just shy of 800 OPS as a guy. We paid 8 mil to kind of DH, fill in here and there. He got 400 at bats or 350 at bats. I'd say that's a pretty decent return for us. And then Drew Gilbert, hey, that's our center fielder. I'm psyched about it. Let's see how we do in the postseason now. Taking on the Cardinals, and we are gonna let Budo go, and he gets us the win. Next up, the Dodgers. I can't let Manaea go. I just can't do it. So this is gonna be a tough one. If we win, I feel good about it in the World Series, but this is a super team. It's gonna be difficult. We win the first, we lose the second, which is tough. We lose the third against Ohtani 2-4. And then Budo, can you keep us alive? You do. Again, I can't let Manaea go. I just can't do it. I know it sounds so bad, but I can't. Senga, we are currently 2-2. Can you make it 3-2 in our favor? No. And it comes down to John Means. Can John Means do it? Is he our guy? He is not. We lose 4-3, and the bullpen blew it in the 10th inning. Dang. I guess they didn't blow it. We just didn't score in the 10th inning, and they did. So that's tough. That's a good run, though. That's a good run to go from one of the worst teams in baseball. We had a top 10 pick to making it just a couple games shy of the World Series. The Guardians ended up defeating the Dodgers. What did the Guardians do to do that? The Guardians are kind of glitchy in franchise, though, so like I can totally see it. Like if Miles Straw is putting up crazy numbers, which he wasn't. Oh, that's right. They drafted this guy. Okay, so he was really good in the postseason, by the way. Holy cow. This team might be kind of crazy for the... Oh, man. What's the pitching looking like? They brought in Max Fried. Oh, okay. Who was the MVP? It was J-Ram. Good for him. And Burgos was the playoff MVP. All right. I feel like we're in a good spot, though. Our manager, it seemed like he retired. Unfortunate. I kind of like the attributes that he had. So this is where things get a little interesting, because like Sean Manaea was good, but I think it's time to let him go. Danny Jansen, can I get him for another season on like an okay deal? Like 7.5 for backup catcher. It's a little high, but not too bad. What about John Means? Can we sneak another season out of John Means? Should we sneak another season out of John Means? So it's going to be Senga. We definitely need pitching. Holy cow. What's our budget gonna look like? It's gonna be a little tight. It's gonna be similar to what we did this year. Bullpen wise, I think we're fine. We're gonna lose a couple pieces here and there. I think if I can get him on a cheap deal again, 7 mil probably, 8 mil again. He's a back half of the rotation guy. Basically takes up Manaea's spot, right? So we've got these two here. Brandon Drury, I'm gonna hold off on. Kikuchi, I'm gonna hold off on. And what does Tanner Scott want? About the same as what he did last year. like 10 mil. I feel like I also feel like he's going to regress though. So I want to see what else is available. I want to see how much money I'm going to spend on arbitration and contracts before I end up spending a lot of money. I do need a manager and a farm director, but I definitely know I need pitching this year. Offense, I feel like we're in a good spot. Maybe a bench bat, maybe somebody that can help us out at third. Other than that, I feel good about this team. Alrighty, season 3, we're looking good. We're ranked second. Good contact, power, pitching, defense is in a good spot too. We're just a really slow team. Looking at the team here, you can kind of see it looks the same. Loperfido actually wasn't as bad as I thought. He hit 20 home runs. The average is a little low, but like on base percentage, OPS is not terrible, right? Like it's not a terrible season. I'm going to give him the DH spot, see how he does. Mauricio at second base. Brett Beatty, final chance to earn a spot. If it doesn't work out, then we can go to Jet Williams, Acuna, we can go to Wilkin. Most likely it'll be like Mauricio moves to third. I'll just give him third base eligibility, and then one of these two will come up to play second base. Or I guess if Wilkin like just absolutely mashes, then we'll call him up and we'll adjust the team as needed. Bench currently looks like this. Willie Castro was a new addition just to get an extra infielder into the team. And then if we talk about pitching, we went big. Zach Gallen for 25 mil, essentially for the next 5 seasons. Gave him a player option for the last year, but it's not going to matter because we'll be done with the rebuild by then. And then Blake Snell. I meant to give a club option for the last season just because that'll be our last season of the rebuild, and I don't think he's going to be good at 36 years old, so I was going to decline it because he just came off a really good season with the Mariners. Had to pay a little bit of money for the 3 seasons. Let's see how it goes. I think it's going to backfire. Blake Snell usually is really bad when it comes to franchise for me, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. And then Jeff Hoffman joined us for 6.5 mil. Tanner Scott joined us for 10.5 mil. So we got some good bullpen. We've got a couple guys on waivers to help us out for the future in the bullpen. And then rotation currently looks like this, along with some of our other guys too. So with that in mind, I think that's it. We talked about the prospects down here. I mean, besides John Rose, you got Clifford, you got Wilkin, you got Acuna, you got Jet Williams, you got Marco Vargas. You have a couple others down here too. I mean, like, we have a good farm system. We have a good MLB squad. I'm really liking it. Let's see how season 3 goes. The season's over, 94-68, won the division, taking on the Giants. Feel pretty good about that, I think. So if we win our series, we'll take on the Brewers, league leaders, Soto with the most walks. Oh, I forgot to point this out. Let's talk about this team. So unfortunately, I didn't have any money because I spent it mostly on pitching, but as you can see, they've added a Vlad Jr. Yeah, I don't know how they're getting away with these contracts, but would you like to see how much they are paying Vlad Jr. because they signed him right before spring training started? They are paying him, a guy who just hit 40 doubles, 35 home runs, hit 350 with the 1056 OPS. They are paying him 10 mil on average for the next 5 years. MLB has to do something about this like budget / off-season contracts, because like there's no reason I should be paying Pete Alonso 7 mil. There's no way that Vlad should be getting a 5 mil or a $10 million deal for 5 years. Like we gotta rework this somehow, because like it just shouldn't be happening, right? Juan Soto usually signs with the Marlins for like 15 mil, like things like that. There's got to be a workaround, and I don't want to put budgets off, because then just I guess that's really the only way to do it, is just turn budgets off so that teams can just spend whatever they want and not have to worry about staying within budget, because that's why Vlad's not getting signed, because no teams are willing to go above budget. Either way, awards, Ohtani beat out Matt Olson and Bobby Miller. Corey Seager won it on the other side. Jason Dominguez, okay. Tyler Mahle along with Bobby Miller, Cy Young winners, or Mahle. Either way, really, he was interesting. Corey Seager along with Vladdy were the batting title winners. Elvis Peguero and Jason Foley, relievers of the year. Tyler Locklear, okay, for rookie of the year, along with Yanquiel Fernandez, who's moved to the Giants now. Interesting. So let's talk about this pitching that I spent a bunch of money on. Blake Snell is one of the long relievers for the postseason. Jose Budo, though, again, this might be the last season for him. And you know what? I'm okay with what he did. Around a 4 ERA. He was pretty solid for us. I don't hate it. He was actually pretty good for us as a long reliever. We got a couple other guys who can step in this role. I'm pretty happy with it. This, though, he's regressing, and he sucked. I should have known. I gotta stay away from Blake Snell. He always lets me down. I got to stay away from him. Hopefully he has a bounce back year next year. We'll have to wait and see. Reed Garrett slowly regressing. Might be time to look for a new reliever. But again, pretty solid for us for at least a season. This season, honestly, wasn't bad either. So like he gave us 3 really strong seasons. So I think this will be a year that we look to bolster the bullpen mainly. Jackson Wolf was a huge pickup for us. Fantastic once again. Jeff Hoffman, I paid him $6.5 million. I think this is a perfectly fine season. Again, wasn't terrible. Let's take a look at FIP, see how he was. Around a 3 FIP, pretty good. What was Blake Snell's? 4.67. So I guess he did get a little unlucky, but it's like nothing too crazy. Alex Young's gonna pitch, even though he didn't pitch at all in the majors this year because Tyler McGill kind of sucked. We also had Nate Pearson. He also was pretty bad. Yeah. Blake Tidwell came up, actually. Gave us a little bit of help out of the bullpen and looks pretty decent. This could be the new Jose Budo. Essentially, he's going to take over that role because he was pretty good there. Ooh, Kirby Kaiser. Okay. I'm keeping my eye on you, Kirby Kaiser. Tanner Scott came in, and I kind of expected him to regress a little bit. 7 blown saves is pretty tough. ERA went up quite a bit to 4.5. What was his FIP? 4.16. So about right. Whip's in a good spot though. And then Edwin Diaz continues to be really good, but it looks like he's regressing, so that could be an issue. Starters, Zach Allen was fantastic. I'm glad that we paid him the money because we needed the ace, and he was that ace. Christian Scott continuing to do well. Really happy about this, especially as a homegrown player. Love it. John Means continues to do well. Hey, for $8 million. I'm going to take that all day. And then Kodai Senga sucked. So there's that. So that's a bit unfortunate, but we're going to rock with these 4 for the postseason and all these for the postseason in the bullpen. Lineup wise, we had a couple changes. Brett Beatty, man, it's not working. It's just not working. Like the OPS shot up quite a bit, but like I think he's a bench bat. I think he's a bench bat moving forward. And even Mark Vientos was like doing well in his ABs. I mean, I can't start a guy who's doing poorly. Danny Jansen, backup catcher, perfectly fine. Jet Williams came up a little bit, struggled a little bit, but at the same time, like 100 ABs, kind of tough to judge him. I think he's a guy that could fit in somewhere in this lineup. We're gonna have to figure something out. Maybe Joey Loperfido gets moved to the bench because he is regressing slightly. So essentially he can move to the bench. We'd have Wilkin at DH and then Mauricio at third because I gave him that position flexibility, and then Jet Williams at second. And then Acuna's right around the corner too. So like we have plenty of depth on the infield. I'm not too worried about that spot at all. Potentially might need an outfielder, but at the same time, I feel like offense, we're fine. It's pitching really let me down, and that's where we've spent the most money outside of Juan Soto. So yeah, DJ Stewart only had a few at-bats. There's that. And then that's really the bench. I feel like we're perfectly fine. Like I said, we've got plenty of offensive talent. It's just pitching really let me down. Nimmo's starting to regress a little bit, but still pretty good. Just the power numbers dipped a little bit. Francisco Lindor, again, it's kind of the same situation. Power numbers dipped a little bit, still doing very well. We've got Juan Soto, who hit 32 home runs. Again, power numbers dipped a little bit. We got Pete Alonso, who actually improved. So I'm really happy with that 35 home runs. Love it. Joey Loperfido, like I said, is starting to regress a little bit, but he's putting up good numbers. So I think as him as a bench bat, I think that's kind of where he'll really pop off, and that way we can get some of the younger guys in. He's still only 26, but like I said, with like Brock Wilkin and them, I think we could get a pretty good bench and offensive lineup put together. Francisco Alvarez, yeah. So I'm hoping we get like an every other situation where next year's another good season. Ronnie Mauricio had a very good year. On base percentage is a little low, but 30 home runs, I will take that. Plus 20 stolen bases. Yes, sir. Brock Wilkin came up, 72 AB, so it's a super small sample size, but I like the numbers that I'm seeing. Drew Gilbert. Yeah, if this is what we're getting, it's not the best, but we'll have to wait and see. And then I've pointed out the prospects multiple times. So this is what we're going to rock with for the, what's it called? The postseason. Hopefully we get a little lucky. We can beat the Giants here, lose the first, and we lose the second. All right, who wins the World Series? Who's it going to be? The Brewers over the Tigers. What did the Brewers have? Okay, I'm interested in this one. So Terang, Tyler Black, Jack Peterson's an interesting one. That's Tommy Edman. I'm sorry, interesting. Pitching, Chris Page. Wow, he's already up, and he was good. We passed on this guy. Did we pass on this guy? Was this season 1? I think we passed on this guy in season 1. I think he went like a pick after us. Yeah, he would have went after us. Actually, he's 19, so would he have been season 2 then? Either way, what a season for him. I mean, this is a good pitching team. I have a feeling that's kind of what carried them in the postseason, but dang. All right. Well, the Dodgers got eliminated by the Diamondbacks. Wow. Oh, they've got that super team and lost to the Diamondbacks? Huh? How? How did they lose to this offense? There's just no way you should lose to that offense. Even this pitching staff isn't that crazy. How did they lose? Typical Dodgers. Either way, season 4, I might have to make some crazy trades in the offseason. We'll have to wait and see. Alrighty, season 4, I'm really hoping we can get close to a World Series on this one. At least like make a World Series appearance. So the team really hasn't changed much. I'm gonna give Blake Snell like another half a season. If he could hover around like a low 4 ERA, I think I'd be okay. Obviously paying 30 mil and getting a 4 ERA is pretty bad. But let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. We got Scott. We brought back John Means just because budget's a little tight with Gallen, Snell, Sanga, Lindor, Nimmo. Big contracts. Soto, we don't have a lot of money to work with. So again, 8 mil. What a bargain. And we've also brought in Lucas Sims, Brock Burke, and Brusdar Gratterall. There's a couple others down here. There's a couple guys on waivers as well. So I'll make sure that the AAA and AA squad are all good to go. Lineup wise, it's basically just the standard squad plus Brock Wilken, who we got in a trade earlier in the rebuild. Loperfido, Vientos, Caratini, and then Alex Ramirez, who's had potential go up to B, now back down to C, but he looks like a Tyrone Taylor replacement. It looks really similar to the attributes that Tyrone Taylor had. So I feel like he'll be fine here. So we have one lefty, one righty outfielder, Brett Beatty. We've got Vientos, we got Caratini as a new backup catcher. I feel like this team's good. Yeah. And then, of course, you know, the same kind of players down in AAA and AA. So we'll see how they do. Wait, I'm missing somebody in... Oh, yeah. Acuna's on waivers. I hope he doesn't get taken. That would suck. Either way, let's see how season 4 goes. All right, Blake Snell's got to go. We're at the deadline. He's got to go. He's terrible. He's terrible. He is on my do not acquire list moving forward. I haven't looked at his FIP. 4.23, it's not bad, but like, yeah. So I'm gonna get Reed Detmers, an expiring contract, and it's one of the better players that I can get that I think can just at least settle around like a 4 ERA, right? Like that's fine. We're gonna hold on. What? Oh, they want more in this trade. Okay, you can have Nathan Webb. There you go. There's the trade. And now we're gonna rock like this. And I think that's it. I did send down Jet Williams because he was struggling very heavily. Outside of that, we're in first place by quite a bit. And you're probably thinking, why get rid of Blake Snell then? I'm not going to keep somebody on the team that's doing poorly. That was a big mistake on my part. I was really hoping this would have been the one time Blake Snell would have performed. No, he was terrible. I can't get him in franchise ever again. It's just not going to happen. So that's the team now. That's the only trade I'm going to make because everything else is going great. We finished season 105 and 57, won the division, taking on the winner of the wild card, which the Dodgers had a better record than us, really, by 4 wins. Okay. So that's pretty good though. 100-win season, first 100-win season. I feel like this should be the season. If we're winning that many games and everything's clicking, it should be, right? All right, so really quickly, how did we rank as a team? Top 5 for batting average, second in runs. It's just, I mean, that Dodgers team is so gross. And if we take a quick look at fielding percentage, we were second, actually tied for first with a couple teams. And ERA, we were the best pitching team in baseball. Look at Christian Scott there at the top. So really quickly, let me show you a couple players that were called up throughout the season. Ryan Clifford, he's on my radar. He had 66 at-bats, had 4 home runs, 3 doubles, 10 RBIs, and a 340 on base percentage with 812 OPS. Okay, not too bad. Loperfido got sent down. He wasn't bad, but honestly, we probably could use him this postseason just because of how some other guys performed. But those were kind of the main 2, along with Luis Angel Acuna, who wasn't great. So as you can see, we're going to quickly fly through this. League leaders, Christian Scott had the best ERA, Edwin Diaz had the most saves, and Nimmo had the most WAR, just shy of an 8 WAR season. Awards, Delivery Man of the Year, and a Rookie of the Year for Brock Wilken. Ohtani won MVP, beating out Vlad and Acuna. Yordan won it on the other side. MVP went to Max Fried along with Shohei. Vladdy won the batting title with Benintendi, and then Josh Hader along with Edwin Diaz were the relievers of the year. Brock Wilken, Rookie of the Year, like we saw, he hit 38 home runs, and Samuel Zavala for the White Sox. Okay, so talking about the pitching staff, we're going to rock a lot of pitchers for the postseason. So, yeah, it's just, I can't take out any of these guys. When you see why I want to rock this many bullpen arms, it's going to be impressive. So, Jose Butto, 140 innings, couple saves, couple holds, some wins, 2.99 ERA, 1.25 whip. Easily his best season. Unbelievable. Tyler McGill, really good. 30 innings, but was very good. Senga sucked. I'm not going to give him that arbitration year. He is gone. It's just, it's time to go. It's time to spend money in different areas. And by different areas, I mean on different people. And on different people, I mean different pitchers. John Means is going to go, even though he's been fantastic. He continues to grow at 33 years old. But yeah. So we're going to have Gallen, Scott, and then that's it. Everybody else is going to be gone. Maybe Butto, maybe McGill, just because they've been fantastic in the bullpen so far. So there's that. We could rock with them in the bullpen. Reed Garrett still continuing to regress, but again, a 3 ERA season. I can't be upset with that at all. Might be time to let him walk in free agency and run with some of the other guys that we have in the farm system, just because I've been stockpiling relievers behind the scenes on top of some pitchers, so some starting pitchers, I should say. Jackson Wolf continues to do well as our lefty bullpen arm. We've got Lucas Sims, who we signed this offseason for $3.5 million. ERA's at 4, but you know what? Still not a terrible year for him. Brock Burke, I brought him in for a lefty arm and paid $4 million. I'll take that. 40 innings, a 1.88 ERA, sub 1 whip. Love it. Maybe a one and done for him, but still really good season. And then Brusdar Graterol, I gave him a 2-year deal. He normally lets me down on the second year, so I'm really hoping this is a different Brusdar Graterol that we got, because that's a great setup situation for him. And then Edwin, who has 1 more year on the contract, is still pumping out good results, so I'm really happy with that. Zach Gallen continues to be our ace, 200 innings, 2.96 ERA. Christian Scott right behind him, 200 innings, 2.49 ERA. Unbelievable numbers. John Means with a 2.8 ERA. Look at this rotation. And then Reed Detmers, we picked him up, and he kind of settled around this 4 ERA area. At one point, he did dip into the 3s, but it looks like he went back up to the 4.31. So overall, I'm pretty happy with it. Would I want to bring back Reed Detmers? Maybe. 27, probably still has like another year or 2 to grow. We'll think about it. He could kind of settle in at like that John Means role, just towards the back portion of the rotation, and then we could go out and get some big arms, because like we're going from 222 in salaries to 154. That opens up a little bit of money, and I don't think I'm gonna trade anybody else. Let's see, we have Graterol. Was his a team option? No. Pete Alonso. Okay, so we'll have a little bit of money to work with. Lineup wise, Vientos was fine. He had 50 at bats. I mean, the power numbers were clearly there. Extra base hits for days. Caratini as a backup catcher was actually pretty decent. Not too bad at all, just no power. And then Alex Ramirez, almost 100 ABs. Pretty good numbers. Good average, OPS, on base percentage, extra base hits. Not a lot of walks, but hey, I'll take the numbers either way. Jet Williams really struggled this season. I still feel like he can help us out, but it might just be like a Jet Williams, Ronnie Mauricio, Luis Angel Acuna. Whoever stays hot stays in the lineup, and then if you get cold, we flip you out for somebody else. The issue is they're all out of options. I'm pretty sure Mauricio is as well, and so is Acuna. So I don't know what I'm going to do with the team now. I guess because we're going to probably rock with one less pitcher, I could add all of them into the bench and just kind of flip them out as needed. So we'll have to wait and see how that goes. So Nimmo, 27 home runs, almost 50 doubles. Big jump up from previous seasons. Had a really good year. Still got him under contract. Francisco Lindor continues to decrease a little bit, but still putting up very good numbers. So I'm happy with that. Soto is starting to regress a little bit, which sucks. But hey, a 400 on base percentage, I will take that every day of the week. Pete Alonso is improving. He's got 30 home runs. The average dipped a little bit. The OPS, the slug, but 30 home runs, he's improving overall wise. Just power wise, it seems. Okay, so there's that. We're paying him like nothing, so like, does it really matter? No. We got Francisco Alvarez, who got back above an 800 OPS. So it looks like it's going to be in every other season. So our last season, season 5, is going to be a bad year, which would suck. Would really suck. But 35 home runs, career year for him for sure. Brett Beatty stepped in a little bit and was good. It might be his third base position to opening day, or to start opening day next year. Brock Wilken, rookie of the year for a reason, 38 home runs. That's really all he does. He strikes out a lot too, so that's something to keep in mind. Drew Gilbert hit 280 with an 819 OPS, easily his best year. Really happy with the growth that he's been putting up, and is like not even really hitting numbers, but he's still putting up an okay season. And then Ronnie Mauricio, like I said, it's really whoever is good gets the job. That's kind of how it's working right now. So postseason time, taking on the Padres. Herman Marquez, we lose. Are we gonna get swept again? So we're in the offseason heading into season 5, and I gotta make some changes. Here, especially because we don't have a lot of money, because I was reckless with the money I was spending. You know, I make bad financial decisions. Either way, we're gonna get rid of Kodai Senga, and actually no, first I'm gonna get rid of some of the relievers that I'm not gonna use, or just we haven't used. And Wagispack, and who else was it? I think it was Chad Smith. And we are going to go to, who was I going to go to? The Mariners. That's right. I wanted Gregory Santos. I know in real life he's injured currently, but looking at this, he's been unbelievable, and he's also on a fantastic contract. So I don't think I actually used both of them. I think I actually have to give up a prospect, and I think it's Rick Wagner. He's 25. He hasn't really developed like I would have hoped. And I've actually looked back at my draft blog, and none of my prospects have really developed the way I was hoping. There's a couple, but Wagner, we're gonna throw in Wagispack, and then I actually do think Smith works here. He doesn't. Okay, so I'll just throw in, does he work? All right, there we go. That's gonna be the trade for Santos. We do have to give up a prospect that has decent potential, but like realistically he's not gonna feature for us. And I looked back at our draft log, and the last 2 seasons has been handled by the CPU. So this guy here was a CPU pick, and he looks unbelievable. So I might actually have him feature at some point if we need a bench bat, because he looks good. He looks like he could help us out. He's 78 rated. And then, yeah, the rest of the guys, they look okay, but they're definitely pieces for the future. But guys that we've drafted, obviously we had Rudy here. He could probably play. The hitting stats look pretty good. And looking at like Sonny Peters and Fabregas, and they're developing really nicely. It's just they're not going to feature in this rebuild. The only one that I definitely want to give a chance to for this rebuild is, where is he? He was in the first season. It was Kaiser, round 1. This guy, he looks good, hits per 9, good walks per 9. The worrisome part is the control and the clutch being low, and because those 2 things are low, I'm a little worried that he's just not really going to perform well. So we have that. Another player that we could test out is Pete Williams. The hits per 9 being low is a little worrying, but the rest of the numbers look good, like the home runs, the clutch, the control, good break, good velocity. So again, might give him a chance, maybe as a long reliever or something like that. So we'll see, but at least I wanted to highlight those 2 because I think they might be guys that will at least maybe throw him in the long relief, or maybe as like that 5th starter, you know, just because currently our starters look a little weak. As you can see, we've got a couple. I just don't think he's going to be good. Sproat really hasn't developed that like I was hoping. So we'll see. We've got a lot of guys that could be long relievers / 5 starters. We don't really have anybody that can kind of fill the rest of the gaps. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to the Mariners, and I'm going to pick up Brian Wu for Kodai Senga. And the other piece that I wanted to give up was Rudick, as well as just some other random prospect that we're not going to use. Maybe like Luke Ritter, who's not really a prospect at the age of 31, but we're going to pick up Brian Wu, 28 years old, probably has a little bit more room to grow. And he's been okay the last couple seasons. I also could get Bryce Miller, who's a little bit easier to pick up, but I don't know. I feel like maybe get the younger pitcher and see how that goes. They look very similar, so I'm just gonna go with Brian Wu. We're gonna get rid of Kodai Senga. I'm not gonna offer him arbitration. I will have to offer Brian Wu arbitration. So we're taking 2 players from the Mariners, who, if you look at their squad, they do have J-Rod, they did have Brian Wu, they did have Santos, But realistically, I'm looking at this team going, it doesn't look that great. So I'm gonna take your two better pitchers, and we're gonna help this team out a little bit. So Santos hops in there, probably gonna sign one more bullpen arm. Still got these two that can help us out. Maybe throw in Kaiser. Still need one more pitcher. Still need one more pitcher for sure. And offensively, I feel like we're good, but not good enough. At the same time, though, what do I do here? Like, Brett Baty had a good season. Do I just make him a bench bat and try to get a really good third baseman? Ronnie Mauricio wasn't great. Jet Williams wasn't great. You know, like, we have some questions that need to be asked. So I feel like I definitely need to upgrade a position. Like, I definitely need some sort of big bat to help us out, because like he could help us out, but he's not really going to provide much power, right? Like he looks okay, right? But he looks very similar to what Rudy does, so I could probably get rid of one of them. I could probably get rid of like Acuna as well, because he just really hasn't developed to where we need him to be. And we have Mauricio, we have Beatty, you know, we have Wilkin, we have Jet Williams, we have a lot of middle infielders, we have Houck, you know what I mean? So like I feel like maybe we try to get a really big third baseman. I currently have 2 offers right now, but I don't really see someone here that I'm like, yeah, we should probably send a couple, like we should pick up. So I'm gonna make a trade. All right, I'm gonna pick up Junior Caminero of the Rays, coming off of a 36 home run season. I feel like this is something that, you know, can be a little bit of a game changer for us. Still only 24, a potential. Definitely our third baseman. We're gonna get rid of Acuna and Giovanni Rodriguez. And there it is. I feel like that definitely makes this team a little bit better. So I think Brett Baty just moves to the bench. We'll let whoever fight out for the second base spot. We've got a couple different infielders that could do that. We've got Ramirez, who can play the outfield for us, and then our catcher slots in as the last bench spot, which means Loperfido probably loses his job, which is a little unfortunate because he's been really good for us. It's just, I feel like this kind of mix here is probably better, and I might actually just give it to the younger guy here in Jet Williams. Maybe move Caminero up just because Pete Alonso, he's been good, but you know, maybe we go a little something like this, or maybe something like this. I like that team. I like that team a lot. Maybe Francisco Alvarez, and then like that. I like that team a lot. I like that team. I think that's a good squad right there. The bench looks good too. Yeah, I'm liking this team. So Reed Detmers is back on a pretty hefty contract, 22 mil, but let's see how he does. He wasn't fantastic last season. He wasn't bad either, and he's kind of settling in this probably 3 or 4 spot with John Means also back. The reason I brought these guys in was because I felt like let's at least try to start with a strong rotation. And if John Means starts to fall off because he's a little bit older, or if Reed Detmer starts to suck, we can turn to one of our other pitchers that we have chilling here, which we've got a couple that I feel pretty comfortable calling up as a 5 starter. So this is currently the bullpen. Tyler McGill is going to slide in here for now. Again, we got a couple guys on waivers, so we should be good if we need to kind of chop and change different players here and there. Lineup. We've talked about it briefly, but this is what we're going to rock with. This is what the bench looks like. We have, where is he? Clifford that could come up. We've got Loperfido if he needs to come up. Rodriguez, Vargas, Rudy, Parada. We've also got Ray Valencia. We've got a couple guys that could definitely help us out. So I feel pretty good about the team. We're currently ranked first, 3rd in contact, 1st in power, 1st in pitching. The defense is great. This has got to be the season. 96 and 66, taking on the winner of the wild card. Not bad. So we were the best team in the National League. Is that what that is? Yes, we were. Okay. I like that. I'm going to make sure the lineup's all set, and then we'll talk about how the league played out. All right, so we've already seen the standings. League leaders, Christian Scott was unbelievable with whip, and Reed Detmers had the most WAR. Offensively, Soto had the most walks. I guess we could take a look, since this is the last season, to kind of see who's leading the league in different categories. Okay, Brooks Lee. And then Mookie Betts had the most hits. What about doubles? Trey Turner and Jackson Holiday. Jackson Holiday also had the most triples, along with Corbin Carroll. And then home runs went to Ohtani. Caminero's in the mix. I like seeing that. And then on the other side, it was Yordan. All right, so let's take a look. Not at awards, but team rankings. Where did we rank offensively? Batting average dipped a little bit. We've been hanging around the top. Now we kind of went to 7th, which isn't bad. 2nd for runs, home runs. What about that? 1st for home runs. I'll take that one. What about fielding? Were we a good fielding team this year? 11th. It's okay. ERA, we were still a top 5 team. So that's good to see. That's good to see. We're definitely holding our own awards. Ohtani won MVP. Yanquiel Fernandez. Oh, former Rocky. All right. Jordan won MVP on the other side. Did Ohtani win it every season? I feel like he did. Spencer Strider, along with Grayson Rodriguez, are the Cy Young winners. I could have got Alcantara this offseason. I also was looking at trading for Jose Barrios this offseason, and I didn't. So there's that. Harper and Bregman are the batting title winners. Bautista and Abreu now with the Brewers. Interesting. Tanner Scott. Oh, been good with the Cubs the last couple seasons. Interesting. Reggie Crawford? What? The two-way player for the Giants. I'm assuming he's not really getting any ABs, huh? He got 8 ABs, had 1 hit. All right. Rookie of the year went to Yumin Lin and Wilfred Veras. Okay, let's talk about our team. So offensive or pitching-wise, big disappointment. Huge disappointment. But I want to see how Senga did. Did he stay with the Mariners? That'd be an interesting one. He did, and he wasn't that much better. If he was better, he was slightly better. So there's that. Kirby Kaiser did come up though, got 11 starts, and you know what? For a rookie season, definitely not bad. 4.2 ERA. What's the WHIP sitting at? Where is it? Not the WHIP, the FIP. 4.4. So kind of where he's supposed to be. Jackson Wolf just was a fantastic lefty for us for this entire rebuild. Gregory Santos, 4 ERA, which is a little worrying, right? A lot of home runs, 16 home runs. He doubled his career highest. What happened this year? And like, his home run is his best stat. What changed that he allowed double the home runs? A lot more innings, but like even then, 4 ERA, 1 WHIP, still a decent season. Just the home runs, huge problem. Maybe just, I don't know. Maybe because he wasn't a closer. I don't know. Jason Foley, we also signed. I forgot to mention that this offseason, signed him for $9 million, and he was very good. So bullpen as a whole was solid. Ramon Gomez didn't get to pitch at all. It was, where is he? McGill. And again, wasn't bad at all. Home runs, definitely a problem, 21. But yeah, still not a bad season. Jose Budo struggled a little bit this year. His good run finally came to an end. And then I brought up Sproat as well, and he had 12 games. Struggled a little bit, but nothing too crazy. But yeah, that's kind of the guys that got some time in the majors this year. So Brusdar, how we looking? Fantastic once again as our setup guy. What a pickup this guy was. And then Edwin Diaz once again was fairly good. I'll give it to him. He was pretty good. This was his worst season. I will take it. It really wasn't that bad. Starter Zach Allen once again was our ace. Fantastic season from him. Look at our guy Christian Scott, just dominating every year. Love to see it. He just came in and did the job, right? He came in 2024, got a little taste in the majors, and then since then, just unbelievable stuff from him. Reed Detmers helped us out this season, had one of his better seasons. John Means, what a pickup. We paid him, what, how many years was he on the team? 4 years, and it was like 8 mil, 8 mil, 8 mil, 10 mil. So you guys can do the math there. 8 times 3 is what, 24 plus 10, 34 mil over the last 4 seasons. That's pretty good. That's a pretty good deal right there for what he just gave us. Let's take a look at the WAR over the last few seasons. So like 6 WAR, 7, 8 WAR, 3, 5, 4. That's almost 5 there. Wait, hold on. 5, 6 plus 6.9 plus 0.9, 7.8. Math wasn't my best subject, so that's also not why you're watching me. You're not here for my mathematical skills. You're here for my rebuilding skills, and clearly we're doing something right. All right, offense. The bench was pretty bad. I'm not gonna lie. The bench was pretty bad, and you're gonna be like, Mark Vientos had a good season. He had 3 ABs, so the rest of that, not great. Ramirez wasn't terrible, but overall not great. Brandon Nimmo, pretty good season. I'm liking what I'm seeing from him throughout this entire rebuild. Had one down season in 2026, but other than that was fantastic. Lindor still putting up good numbers. Love it. Soto still putting up fantastic numbers. Love that too. Still holding his rating at 97, which is awesome. Caminero. I mean, yeah. If he wasn't a hit and a home run, he wasn't really doing much else. That's really what it came down to. I mean, the average, the on-base percentage, super low, but he did hit 46 home runs. Pete Alonso had one of his better years in terms of average on-base percentage and OPS, so I love to see that, especially at the age of 33, where some of our better players are getting a little bit older. Francisco Alvarez is continuing the streak of every other season is good, and this was a bad year. Drew Gilbert, still getting better. Love to see that from our center fielder. Brock Wilken, getting better at hitting. Definitely is getting better at hitting. Good average on base percentage, OPS, the slugging over 5. Love that. Marco Vargas had to come up because Jet Williams was bad. Ronnie Mauricio was bad. And look what he did in 83 appearances. Not bad, not bad. Obviously not going to slug too much, but he was pretty good. Attributes wise, doesn't look bad either. And then back to Nimmo. So this is the team for the postseason. I'm locking it in. I'm feeling good about it. And we are going to face the Giants. Let's go take a look at them. They had the MVP candidate in Fernandez. And looking at this, like this little section here, definitely a little scary. Eldridge just got some pop, but I feel like this is a team that we definitely should be beating. Pitching wise, these two are pretty good. Bieber's pretty solid. Bullpen looks decent, but again, this is definitely a team we should beat. So here we go. We got to do it. Gallen versus Rasmussen, and we win 6-1. Christian Scott loses. Come on, man. No, it was the bullpen. Ramon Gomez. Why? Detmers loses. It comes down to this. Keeps us alive. John Means. Who else? And Zach Gallen wins it. That is big. But before the series, we do have to make a change because he needs to go. And we need to go with somebody else. I just don't know who. Pearson? Is he the guy? Is he the guy this time? I don't think it is, but we're going to do it anyways. We're going to make sure this was right. The reason I actually was testing him out was because look at that clutch at 90. I thought maybe, just maybe, he would have done it, but sadly, no. So we're still rocking this. Kaiser didn't have the best outing either. Neither did Detmers. So we're still going to rock it. Padres time. Let's take a look at the Padres. What are they looking like to make the postseason? Let's see here. Ooh, Leodalis DeVry. I think his nickname is the Mutant, which great nickname, by the way. But anyways, that's a good team. That's a good offensive squad. Snelling, Eflin, Mazer, Lesko. Okay. Yeah, that's a good team. That's a good team for sure. So Christian Scott's getting game 1, and he wins this time. Detmers also wins 2 games, 5 runs scored each game. John Means, holy cow! Who was that pitcher that they just had? Hold on. I think it was Lesko who really dropped down his ERA. His ERA was a 12, it said. But 3-2, Kaiser got the win there. Okay. And Zach Gallen, can he close it out? He does. We scored 5 runs in 3 games there. Perfect. Not 5 runs over 3 games. 5 runs in each of the 3 games. And now we take on the Blue Jays, who have definitely changed up their team. 100%. I know the pitching's pretty good. Actually, hold on. These 3 are good. They do have Alexis Diaz. Okay. Offensively, Bo Bichette's at 90. Okay. I don't know, man. I feel like we should win this, like, easily. So I think we're just gonna go like this for the final. Jason Foley had 1 bad outing. It looks like everybody else is looking good offensively. Lindor, I need you to wake up. I really need you to wake up. Caminero's got at least 3 home runs and 6 RBIs. Okay. I'm liking the offense. I'm liking the pitching staff, right? Christian Scott, we're looking good versus Ricky Tiedemann. It's World Series time. So here we go. Christian Scott versus Ricky Tiedemann, and we win 3-2. John Means versus Jose Barrios. We win 4-3. Zach Gallen versus Nestor Cortez, 1-0. And it comes down to this. We're going to quick manage. We're home. And I feel like since we're home, you know what? Let's change it up. Let's rock this City Connect. Sure, why not? City Field. How are we going to do? Do we go with Christian Scott to start it out? and then maybe turn to, Detmers later on. I kind of like that idea. Let's do it. Let's start the game. Here we go. Please no runs. Please no runs. Perfect. 1, 2, 3 inning. A Lindor walk is huge. And then it's over just like that. Just like that. Junior Caminero double. And then Brock Wilken. 3-0 right off the rip. A double to start the inning for them. But it doesn't matter. 3 flyouts. A walk. A flyout. A single. So first and second for Brandon Nimmo. He flies out. Soto loads the bases with a walk for Pete Alonso, and a 2-run single makes it 5-0. They go to the bullpen already. I'm hoping for like 3, maybe 4 innings out of Christian Scott if we can do that. So let's add some more runs. Let's get him some more insurance. A single, a strikeout, a flyout, and a ground out. Christian Scott is dealing. Oh, Pete, bring him in. Caminero, give me the sac fly. At least get the run in. Make it a 6-run game. Perfect. If I can get 5 out of Scott here, that'd be perfect. Huge outing on limited energy from him on short rest. He comes in, he deals 5 shutout innings. I'm not going to get greedy here. We are going to go to the pen. Lefty, righty, righty, righty. I think we go, what are we, 6th inning? Do I get greedy? I get greedy. He allows a single. Okay, now we take him out. And we go Brian Wu. He gets a strikeout. He allows a single. And then he allows 2 runs. Okay. With a string of lefties coming up, let's go to our lefty in Reed Detmers. Gets the strikeout, allows a walk, gets the ground out. The inning is over. So 2-run score. Maybe I could have handled that a little bit better. But you know what? We're still threatening. Juan Soto hits the home run, makes it 8-2. We get those runs right back, and we're looking to close this thing out. You know what? I'm going to let Reed Detmers do his thing. I'm going to take him out now. And we're going to go to, let's go Santos. He allows the run. Perfect. Love that. So they do get 2 runs, but I still feel like we can get those runs back. Just kidding. We're not going to, but we're up by 4. Let's not be dumb. Let's let Gratterall come in, get the hold, keep it there. A triple. Soto doesn't bring him in. Are we not going to bring in this leadoff triple? We're not. I'm going to let Gratterall get it. That's the game. That's the World Series. The Mets have won it. There it is. That's huge. Juan Soto with the home run, 2 RBIs, a double, and 2 walks. That is amazing. What is the awards? Victor Caratini? Because he hit 500? Marco Vargas was the playoff MVP as well. I got to take a look at this. Just because he had, how many AB? He had 2 ABs. Come on. You can't. He was the only guy on the bench to get ABs. You can't give him that. Look at Nimmo. Not Lindor. Look at Soto. Look at what Caminero did. I mean, even Pete Alonso drove in 13 runs. How are you giving it to Victor Caratini? Give it to Christian Scott. Look at what he did. John Means was solid. Zach Gallen was solid. The bullpen. Look at the bullpen, man. Look what they did. How are you giving it to Victor Caratini of all people? But there it is. I hope you enjoyed it. The Mets rebuild is complete. A sweep of the Blue Jays in the 2028 World Series. I feel like looking at this team, we built a pretty good squad. Yeah, we still do have a couple big contracts with Nimmo, Lindor, but the Soto deal's good. The Caminero pickup was solid. His face looks huge on like a small, skinny body. It looks kind of weird there. But Alonso, Alvarez, Gilbert, Wilken, Vargas. We tried to get some of the other prospects involved. Didn't really pan out. But you know what? Christian Scott came in and was very good. Huge for us in the World Series. And I really like the team that we put together. So there it is. I hope you enjoyed it. Subscribe to the channel if you did. And if you're looking for more rebuild content, you should check out the video on screen now where I rebuilt the Cincinnati Reds, turned them into a pretty good squad. You should go check it out. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.